My name is Thomas Lewis. Today I'll be presenting with Jimmy Fielding. And the scope of this webinar will be to cover the upgrades to our Liftgate charging systems and a few things that you need to know about that. What you see on this slide, it's new systems versus old systems. On the left-hand side, there's the direct and the select. The direct controllers are brains of the whole operation, and they will continue to be. Just to go over the direct is a single source charging system. It has the capability of pulling from one source, that source being either a 7-way socket, the auxiliary pin, or a dual pole socket. The select has the capability of choosing from either the tractor or the reefer, and through those two options, it can pull from multiple paths. That being the stinger cord, the reefer, or the 7-way, and it automatically detects the best pathway to pull from. On the surface, there's no difference. I mean, they're still gonna, the direct's gonna pull from one source and the select's gonna pull from the other, or from multiple, excuse me. Now go over what we're gonna keep the same. We're still going to increase the battery state of charge, which will extend the battery life. We're still gonna provide and boost from the DC to DC controller, the voltage, optimizing the charge time. We're still going to utilize the LED lights that you all have been used to, indicating proper function. We're still going to continue to charge up to 1 hour after the truck engine shuts off. We're going to monitor that voltage, and if that voltage drops below 12.4, then we'll back off. What's new? We've consolidated everything. So you're no longer going to have the controller, just the box that sits to the side, and then we jump into a dual pole socket or single pole socket with a harness. We've built everything into one. So we put a dual pole and a single pole into our controller, and we consolidated everything.
I was going to chime in here a little bit, Thomas.
Yeah.
Just to make sure everybody knows that this is the controller that we mounted on the front of the trailer, which is the brain, like Thomas mentioned, the brains of the operation. The DC-DC converter, that doesn't change. That's going to continue to be the same, mounted on the plate assembly inside the Liftgate battery box. The 4-conductor harness that connects the two together will be the same. So that connection, all those connection points do not change. It's just the controller at the nose of the trailer.
Part. So you have the dual and single pole sockets. They are going to be downward facing to prevent water from gathering in them, and then build up of corrosion would happen. Water just sits in there, so this will allow the water to escape. The receptacles are replaceable. 2 bolts, pull them out, put another one in. I know Jimmy will cover some of the details about those sockets, but reinforced nylon glass. It's going to be continue to be very sturdy. We added an external port on if you're facing the unit, it'll be on the left, and that is for our severe service cables, which are a direct link to the Liftgate batteries. And we added a telematics output, and Jimmy will cover that as well, the details of that. But one of the biggest differences I think, and it really makes it more efficient is the way that we power it. So in the past, our system was powered off the liftgate batteries. We used the liftgate batteries to turn our system on. And what we've done different, and why that would be a problem if those batteries have become discharged and gotten so low, it wouldn't be able to turn our system on. So we changed the firmware into it in the system, and now we can still use the liftgate batteries, or we can use the reefer or the tractor. So it will become more efficient and continue to work even better.
Yeah, that's a good point that you brought up, Thomas. Most electronics, they require 6 to 7 volts to operate, and just like our original design, if those liftgate, powering off the liftgate batteries, if they're below that 6 to 7 volt range, it's not going to turn our controller on. So therefore, it can't do its job and activate the DC-DC converter to charge those liftgate batteries. So that is an improvement that we've made on our new nose box design.
The last thing that I mentioned is we have an interior light controller. This was not even on the previous Direct and Select, and this is on every one of them now. And some of the logic that we built into it is really cool. We can turn the lights on or turn them off in multiple ways. The first way to turn the lights on or off is a touch button, and if you look at your screen, you'll see the bottom left yellow circle is the on-off button, and you can power the lights on and off. The upper right hand, I guess, yellow circle is to indicate that the dome lights are on, and it'll be a blue hue light that it'll be bluish that comes on, and that will notify the driver or the technician that the dome lights are on. Now to turn them off, you can use that switch again, that on-off switch. We also built in a timeout feature, which the timeouts are it'll turn off after 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 60 minutes, and 90 minutes. The default is 60 minutes, but it's easily programmable. You literally just touch the button 10 times, and then the 11th time we'll program it to 15, 12th time 30, and so on. The fourth way is we will detect when the truck turns on. We'll see that spike in voltage and automatically assume, hey, the driver's not in the trailer. They're getting ready to go down the road. The lights don't need to be on, so we'll cut the lights. The fourth way is the LVD that we have built into it as well. We don't want to drain the batteries, and we assume that the dome lights are going to be hooked to the batteries, the liftgate batteries, and we're going to cut power to them if we see those batteries dip below 12.4. So at Purkeys, we charge and protect batteries on trucks and trailers, and we're not going to provide a solution and cause a problem when something else happens. So this is just a few call outs of our interior light controller. Again, if you look at the box, the unit on the right hand side, there's a plate that goes over a cover, easily removable. It's got 4 screws in each corner. Just remove those. We added a provision, a pin to add a remote switch to the unit, and then the image on the right is basically our controller panel. If you took the faceplate off of the unit, that would be the back of the box, and everything that we have there. And like all of our products, we send them with installation instructions and how to install everything. Lastly, a safety issue, or safety item, I should say, and I like to call it a courtesy. When our lights turn off, we don't just shut them off. If the driver or the dock worker is in the trailer unloading and working, we don't just shut them off. That's a safety issue. We're going to give them a courtesy and blink 3 times, 3 minutes before the lights shut off. Then 2 times, 2 minutes before the lights shut off, and 1 time, 1 minute before the lights actually turn off. Again, this just gives the driver a little bit of notice to say, hey, we're getting ready to turn off the lights. Either go around front and restart the sequence, or he's going to be about finished up. But neat little feature that we added to it. And Jimmy's going to take over with some details on the telematics.
Thank you, Thomas. Good explanation. So kind of going into some of the other features of this new nose box. Telematics. We provide like Thomas mentioned earlier, we provide an output. We provide that a 5-volt signal. If you have a telematics provider, basically our controller acts as a sensor, and you can tie into that signal, which is I actually got a box here in that diagram. There's a access on the outside of the box to where you can connect that signal, that telematics signal. But what that can do is send that signal back to headquarters when liftgate batteries are critically low. Just kind of some preventative stuff that we can, headquarters can reach out to that driver, operator, or whatever, and just let them know that batteries are low. You need to do something about it. So we thought about that ahead of time, and at least wanted to make sure we gave that signal in a spot to connect your telematics. Just like Thomas mentioned earlier, we're going to continue to use LED indications. We feel that's just very important for the drivers, operators to constantly see current status of the system. For everyone that's familiar with the LEDs, we didn't change that. You can see in the little diagram there on the right, picture of the faceplate. You have a source LED. Basically, that source LED is your stinger, your dual pole, your single pole, or your reefer input. Then we provide an aux LED as well. This system, unlike the Plus, Flex, or Max, this does not have the built-in 7-way. So it would have if you got the configuration to tie into a 7-way, it would just be a harness that routes over to the existing 7-way on the trailer. We provide the LED for liftgate battery. So your trailer uncoupled, just sitting there, you're always going to see current status of that liftgate battery, just like our older systems. Again, the logic did not change. Green solid, and that's what you want to see before that tractor and trailer leaves the yard. You want to see green solid. That means it's charging. We've got to see 13.8 volts to achieve that charging status. Again, like Thomas mentioned, we're going to keep a balanced system. We're not going to jeopardize your truck to charge liftgate batteries or your reefer. So we have to see that the truck is running or the reefer is running before we send a signal to that DC-DC converter that's in the battery box to turn on. Green blink, that's just telling you current status. There's nothing going on. No charging is occurring. That's just telling you, hey, my batteries, either my source battery or my liftgate batteries, are at a good state of charge. They're above 12.4 volts. If I get an orange blink, that means do something. That means the batteries are low. They're below 12.4. They're not in a good state of charge. Action needs to be taken. Same with an orange rapid blink. An orange or rapid blink means there's a fault. And typically that's either an open circuit, but odds are there's probably a blown fuse in the direct controller. But again, it's telling you to take action and do something about it before leaving and going out on a route. Receptacles. You can see here, you got the dual pole plugged in, the dual pole cord plugged in. We've tested this thing at about every angle, pulled on it at every angle. Now, I've had a lot of experience out in the field. I understand that they'll figure out a way to break this, but it's again, the enclosure's reinforced nylon. It's IP66 rated enclosure. It's very durable. If it is pulled at an angle, the lid is designed to pop up and the cord will just pull right out. The lid is is really the weak point. So if anything breaks, it's probably going to be the lid. But the receptacles, if they do break, they are replaceable. If they happen to break the faceplate, it's totally replaceable. The base stays the same. So if they just, if it did damage to anything on the faceplate, the base stays the same. So you wouldn't have to replace the whole thing. I know we'll likely get the question, off-the-shelf receptacles. They will fit inside this enclosure. You don't have to. We offer these receptacles that we're currently using, the single pole and dual pole, but off-the-shelf ones will fit as well. So Thomas brought up severe service. So what is severe service? Basically, it's traditional dual pole charging in parallel with the Purkeys system, the DC-DC converter. For applications where you got lots of lifts, lots of cycles, short run times, you just can't put enough back into the batteries versus what you're taking out of the batteries. That's where you would choose the option to go with severe service. And basically all that is the traditional dual pole cables, your 2-gauge or 4-gauge cables, large cables that connect from the dual pole at the front and route straight back to the liftgate batteries with circuit protection on both ends. We just gave you an easy way to connect if you wanted to go with the severe service option. You can see here on the side, to try to save space inside this box, because I know a lot of boxes out there, it gets pretty crammed inside. So and when you got all those wires crammed up inside, you go to close if you're working on it, go to close the faceplate. Sometimes those connections come loose. So we thought ahead and put this on the outside to save some room on the inside. It's protected with a 200 amp mega fuse on the outside. So you bring your positive cable here to the circuit protection and your negative cable. And we provide a cover to protect those connections. The other cool thing is, for those that are using our TAPS, our trailer auxiliary power system, that's typically tied into the dual pole circuit of the tractor. We've made this this side port so that you can actually connect those cables to this side port as well. And those cables are 1-aught cables, pretty big cables for the TAP system, and they will fit just perfectly on this side port. So kind of keeps everything out from the inside and not so crammed up. Hardware on the enclosure. We'll first talk about the dimensions, because I know that's one of the first things everybody's going to wonder is, how big is this thing? Like I was mentioning, we made it so there was plenty of room on the inside to work on. But if you were to compare it to just a standard dual pole, single pole box, we're only about a half an inch we only stick out about a half an inch more than just a standard dual single coil box. So it's not, it doesn't stick out too much further than that. Again, IP66 rated, nylon 66 glass reinforced, very durable. The hardware that we use is all stainless steel. We all know that anything on the outside of the trailer is exposed to all kinds of things. The stuff they put on the roads today is pretty toxic concoction, and we wanted to make sure that we took a look at everything, made sure everything was protected, and went with stainless steel so we didn't have any issues with the hardware wearing out too fast. There's a mounting plate on the back side of this. Trying to cover up my face too much, but there's a mounting plate on the back side of this to make it easy to mount. It gives you four mounting holes, but you could also use just open this box up, and I'll do that for you real quick. If it just didn't work out where the mounting plate didn't fit, or for some reason you couldn't use the mounting plate, there's also holes on the inside where you can mount. Basically, these same holes that are used to mount the mounting plate on the back, you can remove those and utilize those inside holes to mount it to the front of the trailer. So one other thing that everybody's pretty familiar with, the way our part numbers work. We do have a new part number scheme for these systems. Everybody's familiar with the select system, the direct systems. It was either like select 21, dual pull and reefer. We've now changed that to where it's just a number. We'll still be able to cross-reference. If you're familiar with the select 21, select 22, and that's what you communicate to us, we'll still be able to cross that. But now we're using the 9102 dash numbers that you can see up there in that little picture off to the right. Also, in the resource tab, you'll be able to download this upgrade, which gives you all the part numbers and what the old part numbers are and what they cross to on the new numbers. So we're going to make it as easy as possible to determine what kit you need. All right. One thing I didn't mention yet is the rollout time. Right now, we're currently working with all of our channel partners to get these implemented, part numbers changed over. So it's released now, and just working through all the details with all the channel partners to make sure they're up to speed on everything. So this is coming. It's released now, and any questions outside of this, Thomas and I, or the rest of the Purkeys team, is always willing to work with you. We realize it is different, but we feel it's a better system and a better layout. Everything's all compacted into one power location. So yeah, we're always here to help. So that really concludes the presentation. It was kind of a short one. Really just wanted to kind of go over the appearance, what it looks like, a little bit on the logic. But if you have any questions, please feel free to ask those now. We got a few of them rolling in here. Yeah, one that came in that was, was the mounting holes, I'm not sure I understand the questions, mounting holes get rearranged? Again, just hopefully I'm answering this correctly. Again, the mounting holes, you got the two options. You got the mounting plate that comes attached with the box, where your 4 mounting holes, or you can open the box up, remove that mounting plate, and use those 4 inside holes. So whichever way's easiest for you.
Yeah, typically if those 4 inside holes, there's kind of a standard measurements for those boxes that the dual pole sockets come in. They'll put the same 7-way sockets in those hexagonal type boxes, smaller, but they should fit right on there. It's pretty standard.
I just had another good question come in. The direct for the straight trucks, there are no changes. That is correct. With a straight truck application or even a 7-way only application, you don't have any receptacles. On a straight truck application, it's going straight to the straight truck battery, so there's no receptacle. Same with the 7-way. It's tying into the existing 7-way. So the direct controller, you got one here, just the square box, that would stay the same. So no change on the straight truck or a 7-way application. All right, going through some of these questions. What trailer OEMs are using the light controller? That's something we may be able to answer offline too, but I know we've worked with all the trailer OEMs. That's something, we have been working with them. I'm not quite sure who all's utilizing the light controller, but we have worked with all of them. Another question here. I think the question, this kind of goes back to that mounting question. I think the question may have been, will it mount to the current configuration? The answer is it's not the same bolt pattern. New holes need to be drilled. That's kind of the biggest reason why we provided the mounting to give you the flexibility to mount this, just about anywhere on the front of the trailer. Feel free to reach out to us if you have concern with that. We can take a look at that. We've went out and tested and mounted on several different configurations, and this was the best thing we came up with. But if you do have a concern, please reach out to us. We'll be happy to help.
There's a question about parts coming. Will we be able to get parts for the old system in the future? Yes, we will. We're not going to just leave the old system out in the cold. We'll still supply parts for those.
I think we've answered just about all the questions. We'll stick around and see if any more pop up, but please stick around at the end. There's a survey at the end. Let us know how we did. If there's any other topics you want us to look at in the future for future webinars. Very interested in your feedback, so stick around for the survey.
There was one quick question that came in. Can I get a Select 23 original part number? So that part number, that one's going to stay the same as well. Just wanted to get that one in.